Hello, my name is Alan Cutler, or as I sometimes call myself, the other Alan Cutler, as I'm certainly not the managing director of Peel Talent. In fact, before I retired, I was a self-employed writer, trainer, and professional speaker. Indeed, I was one of the first members of the UK's Professional Speakers Association. About 8 years ago, my wife and I were on a cruise ship listening to a barrister talk about some of the trials that he'd been involved in. I have to say he was not very inspiring, and I turned to my wife and I said, I could do better than that. So after the cruise, I designed a series of 8 presentations that I've since delivered to Fred Olsen, Saga, and MSC cruise audiences. They involved murder trials from around about the Victorian era, but with a unique difference. In the first, I introduced the audience to the main players in the Victorian justice system: the judges, the juries, the barristers, the expert witnesses, the detectives, and of course the murderers themselves. Everybody loves to hear about gruesome crimes, but the real purpose of this first session is to prepare the jury, the audience, to play their part as members of the jury in the 6 sessions that follow, with me playing the part of the judge and both the defense and prosecution counsels. Yes, the audience sit as jurors in trials involving a solicitor accused of poisoning his wife with arsenic, a German Jew in the dock for murdering a wealthy widow in Glasgow, and a spinster accused of cruelly battering to death her father and stepmother. After each trial reconstruction, which includes slides relating to that trial, including court scenes, expert witness evidence, the murder scenes, and of course the murder weapons themselves, the guests give their verdicts. And after that, I reveal what the juries found at the time, which always results in an excited reaction from the audience. Did they send an innocent person to the gallows, or perhaps set a guilty person free? In fact, in 2 of the trials, it's safe to say that they usually reach the correct verdict, that the real-life juries did not. For my last session, I revert back to jacket and tie and look back at the 3 trials, answering some of the burning questions the guests have been dying to get answered, and consider whether the correct verdicts were found at the time, with some startling conclusions. Let me give you a flavour of how a trial concludes. Please excuse me as I change into character. Members of the jury, thank you for your keen attention for the period of this trial. You have heard the evidence presented in this case, along with the closing statements of both the prosecution and defence counsels. The burden now falls upon you to decide the fate of the accused. Those of you who find the accused guilty, please raise the red side of your card. Those of you who find him not guilty, please raise the green side. Members of the jury, you have found the defendant not guilty of the charge that he did feloniously and willfully and with malice aforethought kill and murder one Catherine Mary Armstrong. The court is now closed. I like to think of my presentations as immersive theatre, with the audience playing their part. They certainly get really engrossed in their role. My approach to cruise entertainment is also appreciated by cruise directors, one of whom reported, "Alan has a very different take on things," and was very popular with over 200 guests in attendance for all of his talks. This is a very popular format. Thank you for viewing my showreel. I hope I get the opportunity to entertain your guests at some time in the future.